Hello everybody, it's David R. Becker here with BeckerArt, and today we're going to be doing a still life, kind of a Thanksgiving still life, and have a little bit of fun with that. I've never done one like this, exactly like this, but we're going to see. And I don't do this twice now anymore, and so hopefully I can do it okay. So you guys are my guinea pigs now. In that class that I used to teach here, I've given up on that Thursday class, and so this is going to be you guys are the guinea pigs with me this time. So it's always not going to turn out as quite as good as I'm used to, because I used to do it first again, or used to do it first and then again here in the evening. So let's see what we got. And so let's go to my website first, and we got davidartbecker.com or beckerart.net. And get your there's the image. Anytime you want to get your image, anybody new here, just get your image right there. And then we're going to go to our supplies, and our supplies are my Holbein paints, my BeckerArt brushes, my Stonehenge paper, which I'm using 300 pounds, just like that, and my watercolors. And I'm probably changing this all around because I do have my new palette, and I just filled another one up. So let's go to our value pattern right away. And so here's our value pattern, and it's kind of a neat design and stuff too. I've always looked for something that, for the holidays and stuff around Thanksgiving, and I liked it by the window, and it just was perfect shot that I saw. And so I love the warmth in this window. And so if you look, it's basically where are the lights. Basically, it's the lights and the darks, right? So again, I make it my no tan, and I look to see for the big parts that are light and dark. And so my sky outside is my lights, and a lot of the vegetables and a couple of fruits in there and leaves. Those are going to be our lights, part of the lights, and then the rest is going to be dark. And when I say that, again, it's a lot of the color will this time. See the color right here? The color in this area will be warm because I want the sunlight to come in and be really warm right there. And so then away from the sun will be the cool shadows that I'll be going across there. But all in all, if you don't have if you don't make a black and white out of it, take this image and then squint at it. Squint at it so you can see it with just the values, trying to get rid of the colors at first. But then you still need the colors to make the colors part of the scene. You can use both values and color to make your scene fall back and come forward and all that kind of things. All right. Let's go. And if you have any questions, let's see who's all here. Hey, Tina. Hey, Carol. Hey, Sherry. Let's go down a little farther here. Karen and Macy. Thanks so much for dropping by, guys. Any questions in there? Nope, just hellos, and I love hellos. Hello and highs. Hey, guys. And so let's go to our tabletop and just get started here. So here we have it, and I drew it up on the 300-pound paper. Again, I use 300-pound paper, and I do it 11 by 14 because that's the size of a frame. And so I do it for the edges, and I don't glue it down. If you do use 140, this is 300 pounds. If you use 140, you pretty much have to wet the back, because I don't like either stretch it on a board, or take a plexiglass and then spray the back. This is 300 pounds, so I really don't have to do anything to it, really. It's not gonna go over and give you little wrinkles and stuff, because it's 300 pound. Most of you guys know that for me, but anybody that's new, I just want to make sure that you know that. And so let's get going with our lights, because that's what we're going for first, our lights. I just noticed my water's kind of dirty because I just filled another palette like this. This is my new palette, and I still love it. It's just so amazing that I can switch colors around now as much as I want. And so these, I have two empty spots, and I'm just still trying to figure out if these are the colors I want for my main palette, like for that I always use. And so that's something is very personal to you. I think a lot of colors, when it comes to colors, that's your favorites. I like the you don't have to use my colors, because you can just use any color that you feel that you like. Of course, get your blues, your warms, and your grays and all that. Get basically your tricolors, right? And then your secondary colors. Not your tricolors, your main colors, your primary colors. Get your primary colors and then your secondaries, and that's about it. And actually, you can get everything from just 3 colors, basically, in black and white, right? Remember that? And we're going to be starting that in the new year. When we come to the new year, I'm going to be just starting with 3 colors again. And actually just 1 color first. And then we're going to go add another color and make it more duotone. And then we'll just keep on going. All right. So that's just what I'm going to do is the outside of the window first. That's my lights. And so I will take and make that kind of warmish yellow. I'll put a little bit of warmish yellow out there. And just kind of like, I'm not going to really draw anything out there, just a little bit to show that it's outside, and it looks like there's a couple of trees out there. And you notice I don't stop at the lines because I go over, because that will be part of it then too. So that's okay. And I don't use this yellow by itself. This is a, what kind of yellow is it? I think it's a permanent yellow light, and I put a little white in there just to dull it down, because otherwise I can also do it with white of the paper, but if I want to create a line or something in a wet wash, then I have to use a little bit of white in there. I just like to tone it down a little bit. And then let's put a little bit of orange to make it look like, or maybe even a little bit of gold to make the tree trunk, like there's a tree trunk out there maybe. Just something, just so that it looks like there's something out there. And you don't even have to identify it at all. These windows look really like they haven't been washed, or there's some white around them, so that's okay too. And so now let's go right to the some of the colors of the fruits and vegetables. And so I think there's a little bit of yellow and green grapes over here. And so there's a lot of yellow in those. I'm just going to put that in there. I'm going to do them later. I'll do them correctly. And then the yellow and the squash here, the kind of squash. And I'm not making these look, I'm just putting the light top on them. I will do individually later on, more and more individually. I mean, I could kind of do it, but now get the darks, but nah, I'm just going to wait. Just going to get rid of the white paper, basically. There's a little bit of orange back here. This is like a pumpkin or something. And if you can't tell what it is in the photo, just make it up. And here we're going to put this squash right here. It looks like squash. That's going to, or no, that's a zucchini. There's a zucchini right there. And so let's make that zucchini a little bit greener. So put a little bit of crackling gold in there. And again, just the light parts, not the dark parts yet. Just the lights. These are red grapes over here, so those are a little bit more red, but leave the white on the side. Like I'm not going to do the light parts. The apple, again, I'll put a little bit of yellow shining on the light part. And maybe pink for the part over here. And I'll go back in there and make it darker, of course, but not yet. Just putting my lights. It's also a good way of getting rid of the white of the paper, and that's most what people are scared of, is the white of the paper. So this is just going to make it easier and helps me out, so I don't have to worry too much about just having white paper and what I'm going to do all around. Because white paper staring there is, scary. So let's get some yellow over here. Here we got some orange and yellow. So yeah, I'm just covering up a little bit of color, and it may not be anything like that exactly, but at least I have that color close by. And here we have a lemon, so that can be definitely light. You notice how I'm leaving away, I'm kind of not doing the side of the apple like here, where it's lighter, where it's going to actually be white. Some of these parts are actually white. And I'm just going over them to leave the paper. Here we have a little light, kind of a tan color here, golden color of the basket, the cornucopia basket here. And inside there we have a pumpkin again, some yellow. So yeah, I still don't have this arranged exactly the way I want it yet, I don't think, but the nice thing is I can move all the colors around. And so I'm feeling that some of these yellows over here are going to have to be more in this area and create those purples a little bit more over here by the blues and stuff. So, it's always, I like the fact that I can do that, but I'm going to paint with it for a while and see how I feel about it. And that's what I could never do with any of my other palettes that I had, where it's stuck in there. So I'm really excited about this. And it fits into everything. I just like the size of it and everything. Here we have an orange. And that would be orange. And so I'm just going to put that in there. And of course, next Thursday we will not have anything because it is Thanksgiving, so we're not going to have a paint along next Thursday. And so this is an onion. There's actually an onion in here. I'm just going to put a little bit of that darkness in there. These are radishes. Radishes. So let's put some radishes in here. The light colors of the radish, not the dark colors. It's going to be darker than that, and I can even use a little bit of opera in that because they're pretty bright, those radishes. You see how I'm just kind of going in there. I'm not being very detailed. I'm just putting down my light colors. Oh no, I don't have a drink tonight. I feel like I'm choking. I gotta definitely get some more drinks in here. I didn't even bring in water. I should at least brought in water. Oh well. If I run out for a second, just you'll know why. Alright, so let's get into it. So those are my lights basically. Now the windows, I got that. That's good enough. And again, I can go and do tints in there too later on, but I'm just going to leave it as it is right now. So let's go in here and now show you how, if the light is hitting right here, it's almost like that when it's so bright, the light, that what you do is you make it like a yellowish orange all the way to like a red in that area. So it looks like it's so bright, it's just burning through there. And it's kind of a neat thing when you're actually with the sun. So what I'll do is I'm just going to start with an orange here. And I'm wetting as I go along. You notice I didn't wet the surface first and then put the paint in there. So what I'm doing is I'm just... Hold on one second. I gotta... See if you guys got any questions. I saw one. I love this palette. Are you going to be selling it in the distant future? I may. I'm not sure yet. I'm right at the moment. I'm just going to play with it for a while. Make sure it's perfect and stuff. And then I may. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. And so, see, I'm starting with the orange, so I'm wetting as I go along, basically. I'm wetting it as I go along. And right here, I know I put like a really bright orange, and I can even put some yellow in there, because I want this part to look like it's almost burnt out. Like, it's so bright. And then this will be a little bit darker later, but first I got to get the light parts in. And I'm going to go around the... vegetables and fruits, and then I'll put a little bit of this light red in there too, because right away it kind of goes dark, but it's warm. I want that to be warm, and as it goes away it's going to start getting cooler. In the foreground down, the shadow's going to be cool. It's got a warm light coming in, so that makes it mostly, they say, a cool shadow for that. And then I know a lot of that where it's blurry would be like what the camera takes the picture. Sometimes the camera lens gets blurry because of the light hitting on the glass lens. This can be a little bit darker. Put a little bit of violet into this to dull it down a little bit. But right here, I want it to be bright. I want it to be bright, and then we'll go right over here. We're gonna get darker really quickly. Get to a nice dark, real quickly. And I know I didn't do my large mediums, but that is my large medium actually. So I am doing my large mediums, and down here it'll be a little bit grayer. Right up there is where I want it to be very yellowy and very orangey. And that's wood with the grain of the wood, and so I don't want it to be really nice and smooth and soft edged. So I'm going to take a little bit of darker pigment and kind of drier on my brush, and I'm going to go in there and just with a little bit of other color with the violet and then just lavender, and just kind of go in there and make it a little bit darker and grayer because I want that to shine right there. And then right around these plants also, take a little bit of violet, so that's black violet. Still getting used to my palette where colors are, and so I gotta talk to myself when I'm doing that. So this is all wet now, so once it's wet you can like kind of sculpt it. I go with a little bit more orange right here too. It's a little bit too red. It's still wet, so I can pull it out and push it in, and so it's all good. I don't want to go to the darkest dark yet because it's not that time yet. I'm just trying to get the bigger mediums in here. When I go with the darks, it's going to be very, I'll have to have most of this stuff done so I can go around everything. So let's basically leave that alone. I don't have to go to the dark right away. I'll just come back this way. But I think that's pretty much dark enough. And maybe let's get a little bit darker here. A little bit darker. A middle tone is what I'm doing right now, kind of a middle tone. And these are all soft edges because I'm working wet into wet when I'm putting it down. Once I put the water down, then of course I'm working wet into wet. Make this a little bit darker. Also, a brighter color darker is a good thing. Making it, it's all wet there. And so I can come back in later and get more texture too for that. Alright, let's take our smaller brush. I'm going to put this one aside for a second. I'll put that one right there, and we're going to get our round now, our larger round brush. And I'm just going to go now and do these vegetables and get them to where, little by little, just go from one side to another. So I'll start with the onion, go to this pumpkin, to the orange. I'm going to try to do it all in one wash, and let's see how it goes. So I'll start with the the onion. And just kind of go in here. And there's this nice brightness to this, and there's some blue in there even, like reflecting from somewhere. But it's kind of dark up here now, and that'll be the background of it, maybe dark. Make sure you guys are not talking and I'm not listening. Alright, no questions yet. Let's go here and make this and go right into this pumpkin and kind of go around the orange. And I can make it a little bit thicker, the right here where the pumpkin starts and the onion stops. And I work slowly and I get the soft edges right away. And the pumpkin is orange, so I'll just start going with an orange right here. And then I'll wet to where I need to wet. And it looks like I can wet pretty much everything. So I take my brush just to wet the surface of that thing and see how that's all together. And I'll go back in here with white later on because I kind of covered up most of the white over there. But then take a little bit more of this orange, just float it in the water. There's a little bit of shininess right here. And the stem right there, I can just go over that too because it's going to be darker later. If I always find a path, I go down a pathway, and the lights are already there, right? And so I'm just getting my mediums and darks in here now, because the lights were done. And so basically we're going in here getting our darks and mediums. And also in here we're also getting the detail right away. I mean, I might as well. Here's another lemon right here. And don't leave the area until you get it finished. Like, don't leave this until you get it done, because you don't want to go back to that. That's it. It's done when you get when you leave that area. Until you do the very fine details, you can go back for that. But I'm putting a little bit of green. I'm putting a little leaf green right in here to show that there's those little lines in this pumpkin. And now this gets really dark right there. So don't be afraid to get really, really dark down in these little crevices. And just float your pigment in there. And then also negative paint these little grapes. Oh no, those are radishes. Do the radishes next. And then this is really dark right here, and part of the basket. Around the lemon. And now we're going to do the orange, because again, you always kind of go in this direction. I'm going to leave that part light and white, so I can just wet the back of here. And now I'm always wetting, and then I'm putting the pigment into the water and just letting it, and I can let some of this be soft edge by just touching it there a little bit. Bring it around, and it looks like this is really dark right against the basket. And then I'm going to take a more of a yellow orange as I'm going to the light area. It's red orange kind of in the shadow, but then it gets kind of yellow orange up in the top parts. So that's going to be an orange. Looks like there's a shadow from the handle, not the handle, from the basket. It's on there. And then it gets really dark here again. So now I'll go right into the radishes. And so each radish, I'm kind of doing the bottom part dark, and I wet it to get a soft edge. See where this light is? I'm staying away from the light top part, because that's the hard edge, right? But this is another hard edge. So I leave that, but on the bottom here I wet it, and that way it'll be wet on the bottom and leave it light on the top. This one is dark against the light lemon. So I'm going to take a little bit of alizarin crimson, a little bit of red, and just put that right there, really nice and dark. And then I'll go with a thicker amount of pigment on the bottom part here, just to give it more darkness, so that it looks like it's going into that area. This was a little bit went in that spot right there, but that's okay. And then I'll put this little end of the radish later. Anything that's super detailed, I'll do that later. I just gotta get the bigger shapes of all these. Now right to the lemon. And the lemon part, now this side probably have to wait until it dries, because otherwise it's gonna go in there. I kinda want that to be a little bit harder edge. That right there is my center of interest, so I'll wait for a second for that. So let's go into the apple right now. Come right over here to the apple. And see, I'm just gonna wet the apple all the way around. And we can go right into this little gourd thing here. I'm not sure what this is, like a little pumpkin. And so the apple, I'll be starting with a bright red. So I'll take Scarlet Lake, and this is going to be over here, and then it'll go really dark, right? On the other side it gets really dark. And also right there it gets really dark, and so I'll use a little alizarin. To where it gets dark, I use alizarin. And then it has a few of these little lines that go in there. Any questions, just let me know. Here's some Amislone brown to make it really dark and really thick, because I don't want it to go into this gourd too much right at the moment. And also apples sometimes have these little lines going like up and down. So see, like I said, I'm going to be using the dark side, because that's all this side, and then the lights, remember the windows lights and the lights of the vegetables, that's it. Everything else is pretty dark. Now I'm going to go here. And if I miss, again, if I miss a light area, I will go back in later just with white paint. Or scrub it out. You can scrub it out sometimes. Here I'll do the little stem. This is going to be light later. There's an apple. And then this is going to reflect right into the zucchini here. And the zucchini is kind of greenish, so we're going to use a blue and quinacridone gold. But I'm going to make it a little bit of the red of the apple shines on the zucchini, so you can keep that red a little bit. It gets really dark around those leaves down here, so I'm just going to kind of put that right down into the leaves. I just get a little bit greener, so use a brighter blue with the yellow or gold. So just use a brighter blue so it gets a little bit brighter. And if you want to put some red in it to dull it down, you can do that. And those zucchinis have these little dots in it, which I can maybe do later, because I really can't do that now unless you know of a way of doing that. Those little dots and such. Oops, I just went right over the leaf. Put lines. And then this orange thing here, this gourd here, we're just gonna put that as an orange. Alright, so there we have the little gourd. And then this is, I don't know what this is. Let's make it a grape maybe? A cherry? A tomato? Maybe it's a little tomato. I'll just make it red. Like the red grapes, so that maybe it's like a big red grape over here. It's pretty light on the one side. Now this leaf over here has a lot of orange in it, and yellows and orange. So let's just put that down there because it's gonna be shaped by the dark background. This cornucopia basket here has a lot of red in it right there, so I'm gonna put that in there in the light area. All right, and so now let's go to the grapes right here. And I'll start those with the light. You know, let's go light to dark. And so this one, I got to figure out which one to do first. Let's go up here and start up here and go down. Yeah, let's just start on the dark side here and kind of go this way, go around the lemon, and then wet it with your brush. Leave the top light because that will be dark on the other side of it. So we're going to leave that alone. Put a little bit of water on it. It's got the one side totally light, so stay away from. Don't touch the left side of the grape. This is the grape too. You gotta also watch out that I'm doing the lemon at the same time and the apple. So get a little bit of, I'm getting a little bit of Mislone brown in here, which is a really dark purple brown, like a reddish purple brown. And so I'll just go with that thick in the water so it doesn't bleed into the apple or the lemon. And then I just wet it to the part that's going to be light, what's still already there, which I did the first wash. And then we go again here, another one. A little too dry my brush, and so I need a little bit of water on it. And now I'm also negative painting these other ones by painting the top of them, and then another one here. And this is just going to be dark back here. Here's another one. So you paint the top of the one and then the bottom of the other, and then take a little bit of water and put a little water right there where it's going to be soft edge to the light part. Now this orange back here will have a little bit more of a golden color, which I can do right now. I can just go in here with a gold color. And go around the grapes, the light part, and then just the zucchini can have a nice hard edge, and then wet that area right there and just let it bleed into the gourd here, or I think that's a gourd. Or is that another kind of zucchini? All right, so there we have grapes, zucchini, apple. Oh, we didn't do the lemon yet because I'm waiting for the lemon to dry a little bit because the yellow is hard to get a shadow for a lemon. Yellow is a hard shadow color. We were speaking about this the other day in class, and it's a hard color to shadow. And I never quite know what I should use because you use orange, you use more of a gray yellow, but then it makes it look dirty, and having a dirty yellow into food does not look good. Now I'm doing a little bit of lime green for the grapes back here, which are green grapes. again, doing the dark side first. This is an orange pumpkin. I should have done that one right away too. Now rinse my brush, get my water, and then just put a little water on it so that it blends from light to dark as a gradation on each grape. This is a yellow, whatever it is. I'm not sure what this is. Maybe that's a cucumber that's lit up. Oh, thanks. Great idea, Sylvia. Sprinkle some salt on the zucchini, and that'll give it the little dots, the little markings and stuff. That could be good, yeah. Anytime you want to, and I also could spray with a little bit of water too. Or I take an ugly brush, right here I have an ugly brush, and what I'll do is I'll put it in water, and now it's getting a little damp, and I'll just take, and I'll do, this could be done with a toothbrush or this thing, and I'll just spray water on it. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that perfect? I didn't think about that. But now I've got the other ones too. But you can go really slow with the water, and you just scrape it with your finger like this, and then it just gets into it. But you have to wait until the water is, or until the wash is damp, and then get a little bit of texture on there. All right, onto this pumpkin back there. So let me think. There's a little stem coming here that's for the grapes, and I took out something of the picture that I didn't know what it was, so I just took it out. If there's something you don't see and you don't know what it is, just take it out, or make it up something. Make it look like something, like maybe the stem of something, which I did. I'm gonna make it look like the stem of the grapes. And then if there's something you can't see in here, I'm just gonna make that really, really, really dark, and so you just don't see what that is in here. I'm just gonna take a nice thick amount of this midazolone brown and just dump it in there into the water. And just let it blend in there so it's just nice and dark. We don't need to have everything be something. Now the zucchini right here gets really dark, and since it's still wet and I've now got texture to it, it's going to kind of go in there with a little bit of dark blue and green. And then there's a little dark on the end here. Let's make that more blue though. It's more greenish blue, it's not brown. Otherwise it'll look like it's been out there too long. Actually, when they get old, they get yellow, so they're a little bit of Prussian blue on the end here. See, I'm preparing everything from light to dark. The 3-step is, I can't explain it enough that is so important to do a 3-step. So let's try to do this lemon now here. And I'm going to wet it. And it's so weird because you want it to be not too orange, otherwise it looks like an orange. So a lot of times what I like to do is just take the yellow first by itself and do a double. Like just do it twice. And like this now is a little bit dirty brush too. So that actually works pretty decently. And you just put it twice in, because all this color I have in the palette right now, and a little bit of this like yellow ochre. So go with like a yellow ochre usually. And if it's next to like an orange, then yes, you can put that in there too. And if you need texture for that, you can do the same thing I just did, or spray it. Spray it. You can take an ugly brush too. Like this is my ugly brush, my really ugly brush. It's a bristle brush. And then just tap it and give it a little texture. You can do that. And let's see, where else am I? Now the leaves, they change from everything. They change from yellow to, this has some really bright yellow and orange on the front. So I'll go back into my yellow here and just find the parts of the leaves that are yellow and just put them on the edges. And they're gonna be shaped by when I do the darks around it. So I don't have to worry about the exact shape of this leaf right now. I've got to just look at the color, the right color, and the right value, maybe a little bit darker down here, some dark colors into the shapes of the leaves. And this kind of just goes together right here, dark. Not everything everything can be kind of connected too, with darks and lights and stuff, so that you don't have to show exactly each individual thing all the way around. I think too many of you try to make everything hard-edged all the way around, but let something bleed away. Let it bleed away, and now this leaf gets some really darks in it. And now I notice I don't have any blue. Right now, all I have is warm colors, and I should probably put a few cooler colors in. Like remember I said in the onion there was a little bit of blue or a little lavender in there, so I'm just gonna put that in there a little bit of blue, because it's mostly orange, right? And so what's the complement of orange and all these reds and stuff are more the blues and stuff, and or grays. Like just even a gray would be good. So let's start. Where am I going to start with my darks? Where's your plan of attack? So the lights over here are gray, so I'm going to go from this point all the way around. That's what I'm going to do. Go this way and go around with my darks. And so let me think what brush I should use. I'll use a flat for the boards here. And now as I'm going to go into my violets. There's a lot of yellow in here too, right? Yellows and orange. Now that lemon looks really flat, and so let me just really quickly just looked at it for a second. Take some yellow ochre on this side, make it a little bit darker on that side. There we go, it's a little bit rounder. So we're going to try to shift and not put too much of warmth into these boards, because they're cool, right? And now we're going to get into our cool colors, and they're like grays and stuff. And so I'll take some grays and just lay them down, and they're a little bit lighter up here. And as I get going a little bit farther into this, it'll get darker in different spots as it gets to this side, because this is going to be a shadow later on. But first I got to put the lights into the boards, which you always got to do. The lights first. Got to remember the lights first. Around this leaf here a little bit. And if it's not gray enough, what do you use for blue to make it gray? You use orange, right? Because that's his complement. So just put some orange in there. It can also make it brown, depending on what kind of blues and oranges you use. Or you can just go in and get some black. Get some cool black and then put that in there too. That'll gray it up really well. A bit of blue in here. Okay, that's my light parts. And then when it comes for detail, I'll put that in later for the really fine detail of it. We still have time? Yes, we do. So there's one of the little lines that go through the board. There's another one that starts right by this cord here, goes down. Just going to use a little bit of black. And there's going to be a shadow over here. There's a little bit of violet. A little bit of violet here. And I'm just mixing with the colors I have there already, because that I know it's going to work because I've already used all those colors in the painting. So I just made a dirty color here, and it'll be fine. And now I'm just going to get the shadow of this. I'll pick up a little bit of violet and put it right on the paper so that it gets nice and dark. But as it gets over here, now it's also getting the shape of these leaves. And then as it gets over there, it gets warm, right? The shadow gets warm over here. I'm going to dip into a little bit of orange, a dark orange, and I'm just mixing it right away with my brush. And then this goes up here this way, and as it goes up, it gets warmer. So again, I'll dip into some yellow and orange. Orange up there, and it goes to a dark. And I like using flat brushes for this, because anything that's rectangular, I like using a flat brush. It's a lot easier using a flat brush. Now I'm going to take some orange here, some bright orange, and just start there and go this direction, and then add darks to it. So when you get over here, you got to keep that orange, keep that bright colors. The same thing up here. I'm going to take a little bit of the permanent orange yellow. And just make that look like it's light, and this is dark. And then this is all going to be a nice warm orange. I'm just going to go across quickly to get the grain of the wood. And now it's dry, so I can get the edge of this window. And then I'll just go quickly, and I can even use my ugly brush. Use one of these ugly brushes and just pick up some of this pigment, and then just Make some lines. Make some lines for the boards, for the grain of the wood. Now we're gonna go down here, and I don't think this is a hard edge yet, and it should be. The shadowing, so I'm gonna take some violet. This is just pure violet, dark violet, and it's wet still. I'm just gonna take that and put that on there. I could take some lavender in there too, just to give it a little bit more lavender look. And now we're just gonna start doing this way. And I'm gonna use my round brush for a second. Where's my round brush? Oh, here it is. I'm going to take it and I'm going to do the little darks in there. So I'm going to take my Amislone brown and the violet, some really dark colors, and I'm going to go in here and get my shape of things underneath, because now it's like my detail. I'll do this big dark in a second. I just want to go this way around, basically. So I'm just getting these shadows underneath here. These are just shadows that are being cast by the leaf. And then over here we got really dark underneath the apple. I'm using the Amislone brown, which is like a purple brown. You can use any kind of dark color that you want. And it can be cool or warm now, because actually make it a little bit cooler. I'm going to take all these blues. I'm just going to put some blues in here. This is the leaf. And then, oops, that was supposed to be light, and then this is supposed to be dark. Oh well, we'll just do this. And put a little bit more blue in there. I'm not putting enough blue in there to make it look, I don't want it to be warm. I want it to be cool. I do want to have a little reflected light in there too. That's okay to have a little reflected light from the apple. But overall, I kind of want to make the gray and blue, because it's sitting on a gray-blue surface. Now when I go over here, I'm going to use all these dark colors over here, and I'm going to make it on thick. Put it on very thick, and go right around the cornucopia here. Go right around this gourd thing right here. And it's thick, but I still have a lot of water in my brush, so I'm just getting a lot of different colors. And then now I'm going to sculpt. I'm going to sculpt out the darks area shapes, or the light area shapes, by using the darks. And there's a lot of hard edges coming in here now, because I want to get and show you what the objects are actually. And don't be afraid of a lot of different colors in here. That's okay. Put different colors in your darks. Just don't use black and just put it down with just by black. It looks dull then. You want to put colors into your black, or mix your blacks, like I was told as a student. As a student, I was always told, always mix your blacks. Yes, I will be using blues and browns and all kinds of colors for the background. Definitely, it's all gonna be in there. See a little bit of blue in there. And there's blue. That's pretty much a blue. But that doesn't mean that's all I use. I will use some red in there too. It's just going to be almost black. It will be almost looking like you can't see what's in back there. It'll just have enough, a little bit of a tint of color in your dark. And this leaf, you really don't see it coming through there, but I kind of like how you can see it a little bit. So I'll just put a little thing over that. And when you make it dark, you got to use a lot of pigment. Don't, if you don't have enough pigment squirted out on your palette, you better put some more out, because you need enough to make it in one wash. You don't want to go over it a second time. You want to make it right away so it has a really beautiful look to it. It's when you go back in over and over, and that's when you kind of lose the intensity of the wash, because the first wash is always the best wash, right? And so that's when you do with this salt and stuff. If you want to make it textury, you can make salt in there, you can put whatever. You can make your wash beautiful the way you normally do. Whatever you do to make your washes really nice, that's when you do it. And the first wash. Now this has a bunch of little grain coming through here. I'm going to put a little bit of grain. A little bit of knots in there, and then grain. So you see how you just keep on going around. There's a little bit of this red in this basket here. Just going to put that in there a little bit. The basket isn't really light, though it does have some light parts of it. This is kind of dark, and then the side is light, and now I'm going to go up here. Inside the basket is very, very dark again, but you know, maybe warm them there because there is it's kind of your center of interest. So I'm gonna make that one a little bit warmer because it could be like the lights shining through here a little bit. There's a stem of the pumpkin here, and I can look at it, paint that. And there's a big mess here. I don't know what's happening right here, so I'm just gonna make it up. What's here? Go around the stem. Make this nice and dark. Go right there around the onion. Right next to the vegetables and the pumpkin and stuff, you do have to make that really hard edged so that it looks like it's falling into there. Now to the background. Now let's go to the background. And you notice I didn't wet it first. I don't need to wet it. I'm wet it as I go along. I'm going along and just wetting it as I go along. Let's see. Yep. Wet as you go along. I'm going to use a little bit my bigger round brush. And definitely look at other colors that you use. I mean, don't just all of a sudden start using a whole different color palette. Just use the colors that you've been using. I used a bunch of really dark blue back here too, right? And so just keep on going with that. And this is kind of a texture of wood back there. So I think to myself, well, how can I make the texture of the wood look like it's grainy, right? And so I can either do it while it's wet, maybe do some dry brushing. That's a good way of getting texture, dry brushing. So go over it first, and then maybe later in a second when it's getting a little bit drier, then go back in and get some little quick brush strokes across it. And then over here, it looks like there's some lavender. It's nice dark, and so I'm just kind of almost not doing it wet in the wet, or I'm doing it wet on dry paper. You can pull it down and get a texture like that too. Like you can get a soft edge, hard edge, you know, and this is all just, and I'm doing a tint. This is a tint where I have a lot of water in my brush, a little bit of pigment, and I'm just getting the texture of the grain of the wood. And that is not dark enough because I want it to be really, really potent dark like the photo, because that's what makes the photo look so cool, how dark it is back there. So I'm just going to go with a really dark over that and just kind of get some grain look in there. And it's still wet, so I can put in the nice dark colors. And I want to do that in, again, one wash. Don't come back in here again. Just try to make it now. I mean, you can get back in, but you try not to. You try not to go back in. Now I'm going to do this a little bit warmer there because it would have a little bit nice warmth, dark warmth in there, because it's still kind of going this direction. I'm going to scrape in a little bit of things in there too for the stem of the grapes and stuff. And now I'm going to go around this area a little bit smaller brush. Use the colors that are in your palette too, that are laying there, because you used them before, so they're definitely going to be the right colors. See, I'm just kind of giving it texture. It has something that goes in this way, and I guess you could do that by just taking your flat brush, wiping it out, and just kind of pulling up on something. So there's something over here. It's going this way. So I'm just playing around now. It's like details, and so I'm just looking at what the picture is. I'm just trying to copy what I see in the picture a little bit. This can be a little bit more pretty dark right here, but with a warm dark. Maybe a red dark right here. Any questions? Use blue for the background. Okay, give it a little bit of texture here. Small round brush can give me nice texture. I must have some blue on here, because look at this, I got a little bit of dark in there. That's okay. And now I'm going for details. Now I'm going for really fine details. I want to see every little thing in here now that I want to get in there. So the grain of the wood. there's a latch on the window, I put that in. Anything that now identifies what you're doing, because everything else is done, right? Get your big shapes in there, and now you're gonna have to put your stems in there, clean up your leaves a little bit. All these little things now come into account. The bottom of the window, we'll put a nice dark there. Let's put in the stem, and the stem in the picture is light, so I'm going to use this a little bit thicker of the apple. There's the stem. I'm going to go in here with my small rigger brush, and my rigger brush is going to get me these little lines of the basket here. And I just dip into any dark I have. I really don't care what the darks are now. I've got that all covered up, so now just worry about lights and darks. Just get it to look right. Get all your details in there. You don't have to worry that much anymore about the color scheme. You got that already happening. You're just going in now to create shapes and create objects so that you can see what they are. Like here, it's good. It gets really dark down here by the onion, and the onion usually has these little lines, right? And so I'm just going to take my rigger and just give it those little onion lines. And then on the top of the onion, it's really dark right there. So I'm again take a really dark color. I don't want to get too different from what's there, but just enough to show the hardness of it and what it actually is. All these lines of this basket, this cornucopia basket, is just if you drew it out really well, then it would look even better. You can make it look exactly like what's happening there. I didn't draw it in well enough to show every single weave of that basket, but I'm just impressionist, so I'm kind of making an impression of what the weave looks like. And it looks like there's a bunch of little dots here and lines. Basically, some go over it, another one. All right, and then let's do the stem thing here. I think it's not totally dry, but if I use it really thick, if I use this colors really thick, then it'll just give me a line anyways. And then the stems get light. I get down here. Well, maybe do some dark. See how I'm doing detail? I'm getting all the little details as many as possible. Here's a little stem on this gourd. There's a stem on that one, and that's a little bit kind of. I'm gonna make that kind of greenish. A little bit blue. Makes it kind of green because it's going over yellow. And this is the stem of the pumpkin, the little pumpkin here, so just put that in there. Got a few more lines on our zucchini. Look at all my dots went away because I did it when it was too wet. You got to do it when it's just damp. When you do that spray like I did. I could also spatter it too. I can do that. Here's a little part of the orange, the end part of the orange. This I still don't know what that is, so we're just going to leave it at that. That's the mystery object right there. The mystery fruit, or maybe it's the mystery fruit or vegetable. Really dark reddish alizarin I'm going to put right in here. All this stuff that gets really dark in here, this is our center of interest, this area right here, so get really detailed with it. I'm going to put these really darks in there, go around the shapes of these things so I can go really deep into those little crevices. Put a few more lines in here. This is pretty a little bit darker. Just a little bit darker here. The the apple could use some little bit of dry brushing. Like take a little bit of red and just dry brush the part of the apple that looks like it's textured. Not textured, but it has like a look of pattern. That's the great thing about working on cold press, is that you get to use all that texture with a dry brush to get any kind of texture in you want in there. It's very simple by just running your brush across it. A little bit of orange and make the little different parts of this gourd here. The leaves can have little lines in there, here and there. You know they're a leaf just by the shape, right? It's just there's little parts of the leaf that come up and give you a nice shape. The unidentified vegetable, we'll get back into there. Let's make a little bit of a line back there. Now I'm going to go for the last part. Let me do a few more of these. We still got enough time. Yep, 4 minutes. Little shadows. The window. Like I said, remember before I said I'm going to go back in and get a little bit of stuff happening in there. So what I think I'll do is just take a tint of something and then just kind of go like this and put like a tint of. So it looks like there's something out there. A little shadow in there. Maybe there's a fence out there. Just to give it a little bit of a tint so it doesn't look so perfectly white. You know, it'd be something you see out there, but you just want it to be a small thing. Nothing too dark. It's definitely got to be lighter than anything else you put in there. And I just usually make stuff like this up and I don't really care what's out there. It's like a little bit of yellow ochre-ish color for the lemon again. It didn't get dark enough right here. Alright, so the last thing I'm going to do is take and do a little bit of white. I'm going to take white paint, and I've got my jar of white, my bleed-proof white. There's two different kinds. There's bleed-proof. There's also like the, and again, this if you're doing as traditional, you don't want to use white, then don't. Just rub it out, or make sure you use masking fluid before you get to this point. And I really don't almost need that much, but I'm just going to take it on the edges of some of the grapes, and I'm just going to make sure that those parts stay white. Like here, I kind of went over all this, and so I'm just going to go in there, show the white of the window. And the window, I can put some on the edges there. On the little tails of the radishes, I'm just going to put a little light right here. But then this is the little tail of it. And the stem, I can do in the stem of the apple. I can give it a little bit of lighter touch on this part of the apple to make it look like it's shiny right there and wet. Maybe the apple is a little shiny because somebody polished it. And then you put a little bit on this zucchini, little dots. Remember we had little dots on the zucchini? We can do that with white paint too. Yeah, but I probably shouldn't do that too much though. The edge of the leaves can have a little bit of light. The lines in the texture of the wood. You know what? I think that's it. There you have it. So where would I sign this? I would sign this right here. I would sign it right there. And but there you have it. A simple little, Thanksgiving, and do it as a card. You can do it as a card too, and give it to somebody, or do it as a small picture and sell it to somebody for Thanksgiving, or it could be a gift, right? Well, guys, thanks a lot. Any last questions? Thanks, Tina, for asking everybody to like the button. Hit the like button. They're going to come up with something that I hear that they're coming up with something on YouTube where you're going to do, it's another button, a different button, and I forgot what it is called. I just read it today. I'll have to get that to you in sometime. All right. Thanks again, guys, for coming by and watching. And again, if you have questions after this, just put them into the comment section below. in the description and the comments that you can put that afterwards. All right. We'll see you on Sunday, hopefully. No Thursday paint along next Thursday. Have a happy Thanksgiving next